Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say that that knife isn't real, because if it was, this guy would definitely be getting a new arse cheek.
What happens if you forgot your knife? Your empty hand, your opponent is armed with their knife.
Well, I don't know actually, Jake. I don't know how many people invite their dads out to the park for a battle to the fucking death with knives, but in the case that you have done that and you have forgotten your knife, let's see what the next step should be.
In this first defense, our attacker's got the knife chambered. He's gonna try to thrust in a downward motion from my neck or my torso or my face, coming over the top. And my goal is going to be a little counterintuitive, to step in and jam him up.
Well, my first thought in this scenario would have been to get the fuck out of there. You know, you got a lot of open room behind you, but no, absolutely right. He's got a knife, jam him up.
Before he reaches maximum power and velocity with that arm. So when he comes in for that attack, step in and try to block above and below the elbow right here and get it in an up position.
That's a really tight defense right there. I mean, his elbow is definitely not going to glide straight into the bridge of your nose and knock you out.
From there, watch this carefully. My hand's open. My right hand goes underneath the bicep and locks on top of the left hand, making an X. And already he can feel how his elbow is getting torqued. The next part, drop the elbows down and bring them toward me. Elbows down, bring it toward me, and look at his body position changed. And then I can either stay here or step behind him.
Okay, from here you're absolutely golden. The guy with the knife has done nothing to stop our advances. We can now option select him.
And drop him all the way down to the floor, keeping control of the knife the whole time. And that's our first move. A little more smooth, the attack comes in. Jam it up immediately. Right hand snakes underneath the bicep, locks on top of the left. Bring the elbows down toward your body, and then use the legs and drop your opponent all the way to the floor, keeping control.
Yeah, so I just want to point out that at no point has Jake actually closed his hands or had any grip of any kind. That's because you simply don't need to. You just need to feel the vibrations in the air. You'll get this guy down, no problem, every single time.
And then full speed should look like this.
Well, there you have it. This guy comes out, tells you to get the fuck off his garden with that football. He comes out with a knife. You now know how to take him out.
Next, your street thug's trying to get you in an underneath attack and the knife's in the open position. So when they come in for that thrust, I'm going to try to again jam it up.
Make no mistake, Jake looks like he's falling off the toilet here, but this is an elite level block. I think the SAS teach this, and you'll see this many times in the UFC and Bellator. Anything of that nature will show you this kind of block.
And create a pocket in my body. So watch the pocket. They come in, jam it up in pocket. This will work in an underarm thrust or as a straight thrust in. Create that pocket and jam.
Down. You've got to know in advance that he's aiming for your crotch, but of course in a street fight with a knife, that's exactly what he's going to do. Look at that posture there. There is no break in this man.
I'll have students train this 1,000 times to create that pocket while they jam the knife hand. So again, pocket, jam it up, immediately right hand goes to the right tricep.
So if you don't know why this will work, it's probably because you're not listening to Jake, and you should probably click off the video now. You need to break that pocket and jam every time, baby, because that way you're going to get enough time to feel him up, get your hands where they need to be, and just watch what he does next.
Left hand goes to the wrist. Use your entire body, step in, control the arm. Knee up a few times to weaken him.
So while Jake was positioning himself, you're probably thinking there, what if this guy actually had some resistance? Maybe he's going to stab that knife straight into my crotch. Well, what you got to realise is, one, you're a fucking idiot for thinking that, and two, nobody is ever going to fight back.
And then try to stab him back into the kidneys, create separation, and get out of there. Again, your street thug comes in with that knife in the open position. Create that pocket, jam the arm down. Tricep, wrist, use your legs and the whole body. Push the arm up, knee them a few times to create weakness in them, stabbing it into the kidneys. And if
so, I'm going to cut that there because that is essentially all that move is. You get an old man in the park, have a game of Twister with him, stab him up the arse and leave him to bleed out.
You can't always have eyes in the back of your head. So you're chilling in front, the guy gets you from behind, the knife's in your back. What do? You could be in trouble, but if you try this technique, it might save you.
Yeah, so I think this technique really would save you. If you're in that position, you know, it could be dangerous. It could be. That's if you don't know this technique that Jake Mace is about to show us.
As soon as you recognize the situation is elevated, get yourself into an athletic position and the arms go up to throw your opponent's gaze away from your body. Make them think you're going to surrender to them, and then immediately spin and rotate, deflecting that knife tip somewhere else.
Okay, so just remember, when you get to this point, if it feels like you're bleeding, you probably are.
While you chop down to the forearm or the wrist. And the goal is to chop with force using your ulna so that it pops their knife that way and gives you a chance to get away.
Yeah, I can see that working 100% of the time. He's just going to stand there and mind his own business now for the rest of the night. Jake Macy's free to go on and do as he pleases.
Normally, if you do it right, you'll find in training, the knife will pop out of the person's hand, especially if they don't know that chop is coming. Again, you're hanging out, the knife comes in. Athletic stance, hands up.
Yeah, so this isn't being emphasized enough. You need to get into that stance of, help, I've shit myself and I'm in desperate need of toilet paper.
Let them think you're surrendering. Spin and chop to the forearm or wrist, and then get yourself out of there. And full speed should look like this.
Yeah, so just a word of advice to anyone. I think this video should have correctly been titled How to Die in 2 Easy Steps, 3 combos on how to get murdered. Listen, if anyone's coming at you and I'm not a professional with a knife, get the fuck out of there. Don't try any of this shit.